This is the Video Game Votary. Show your support and hit subscribe right now. What's going on, Video Game Votary Vanguard? It's your boy, the Video Game Votary here. So as you guys know, I took a trip down to Magfest a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure you guys are curious about the pickups. So sit back, subscribe, catch the vibe, and find out what I picked up from Magfest 2020. Alright guys, welcome to the pickups video. First we have a hoodie from Limited Run. Next we have this super cool welcome Super Mario welcome mat. I thought this would be cool for the man cave. Now let's get into the games. First we got for the Super NES, Bulls versus Blazers. This is a classic basketball sports title. Probably, I would guess, maybe the first basketball game that I ever remember playing. I don't remember too much on the NES if I did, but this was like classic to me. And then I picked up a lot of games, and it was kind of like buy two get one free or something like that. And I needed an extra title, so I said, why not get this? This is something that I kind of grew up on and remember playing a lot of. This is one of the very few titles that actually had Michael Jordan as a playable character under his actual name. And I just remember playing a lot of this as a kid with my brothers. We were heavy into sports titles because we were obviously big sports fans. And again, it was part of a deal, and I said, why not pick it up? I know a lot of us aren't too big into sports titles, but this is just one that I decided to pick up and add to the collection. Next, we have Mega Man X Maverick Hunter for the PlayStation Portable, PSP for short. I saw this at a great value, decided to pick it up. As you can see, there's a little bit of gameplay here. I had to basically record it with the camera. Looks great for the PSP in this time with the graphics and stuff like that. So you can see it gets a little out of focus there, but I definitely decided to add this to the collection. I'm a big fan of Mega Man, so anytime I see Mega Man, any Mega Man title that is at a great value, I always decide to pick it up. So it's like, why not? Next, we have Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 3DS. Saw this at a great value. It was a game that I didn't have, and I feel like it's must-have, especially if it's portable. So I decided to pick that up. Also, never got the chance to experience Super Smash Brothers on a portable device. So I think it would be a great game to have, like on a road trip or something like that, to experience, you know, lunch breaks, potty time, things of that nature. So, as you guys know, it's not too much to explain with Super Smash Brothers and the series in general. I know what some of you guys are thinking. How do I not have Super Mario Brothers 2 in the collection for the NES? As you guys know, this is Doki Doki Panic over in Japan, and this was basically remade and rebranded as Super Mario Brothers 2. Although the game world knows it's not a true Super Mario Brothers 2. We didn't actually get that. We got that in the form of Super Mario Brothers Lost Files. So, had to add this. I'm an avid Nintendo fan and a big Super Mario fan as well. So I had to add this to the collection. It was a must-have. Once again, to complete the NES trilogy, Super Mario Brothers 3. Again, it's another game that I just didn't have in the collection for whatever reason. So I decided, of course, to add that as one of the games I had on my list to round out the Super Mario series. For the NES, I absolutely had to have it as a must-have in the collection. And that's pretty much that. I don't know what made me take so long. I think I was focusing on more current gen and getting consoles, but now I'm at the point where I'm just getting games that I want now. Next, we have a game that's been on my radar for quite some time, Marvel vs. Capcom, Classic Superheroes for the Sega Dreamcast. One of my favorite consoles of all time, one of my favorite fighting series of all time. So I decided to pick this up. It's one of the more expensive titles. Dreamcast can be relatively expensive to collect for. So I was basically at a time where I was able to pick it up and kind of pay, I guess, premium price. I didn't really get this for too much of a sale, but either way, it's a great title, and I absolutely had to have it in my collection. It's one of my top 10 fighting games of all time. Next, we have another game that was on my radar, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo GameCube. I'm a big fan of classic style beat 'em ups. This gave me not so much of the side-scrolling beat 'em up from the classic arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles of Time, but I'm just a fan of beat 'em ups. You know, something that's not too much thought into it, not super difficult, but you know, fun to play, easy going, relax, something relax the mind. So that's something that I actually had on my list, and I was able to pick it up and add it to the collection. I'm glad I did.
While you are in the air, do an attack move and see the ground shatter under your feet as you land on it.
Now, getting into some of the other titles, let me make it clear that I now have decided that N64 being my favorite console of all time, which you guys know, and it's a lot of it due to nostalgic factors. So I've decided to go after a complete collection. So I actually picked up a couple lots while I was down at Magfest. This being MLB All-Star Baseball 99. Of course, it's a sports title, but it's part of the collection, so I had to pick it up. Continue on with the N64 lot. We got All-Star Baseball 2000, also for the Nintendo 64. From the gameplay, I didn't see much of a difference between the two. It looks a little bit better, just slightly, but not much to it. Typical baseball game. I didn't get into too much detail to see what the major differences was from 99 to 2000, but again, I'm going for a complete collection, so it's part of the set. Next, we have Fox Sports College Hoops 99. I believe this may have been the only or very few of college basketball games released on the Nintendo 64. This is actually my first time seeing it. I remember as a kid, it always sparked my interest. I was a very big basketball fan, just never had a chance to pick it up or play it. So I decided to pick it up. Not much to it, typical basketball game. Next, we have NBA In the Zone 98. Again, I never played this. I always used to see it being promoted in the magazines. You see I'm using the Lakers with Kobe Bryant, rest in peace to the legend. Again, typical basketball game. It wasn't a whole lot. At this time, NBA Live was the cream of the crop. So I'm sure back then, matter of fact, I know back then I was playing NBA Live. But I had to pick this up because, again, I'm trying to complete the Nintendo 64 collection. Speaking of which, next we have NBA Live 99. And again, back in these days, NBA Live was the cream of the crop before NBA 2K took them over. Again, I'm using Kobe Bryant to kind of sort of pay some homage to him. I remember playing this game a lot, especially on the N64. This game does not age well. It's still fun to play, but it just doesn't age well. This was back in NBA Live's glory days, but still extremely fun to play. Next, we have FIFA Soccer 64. I believe this was like the early days for when the FIFA series got its start, and now it's, you know, one of the more prominent sports titles that's available. It comes out on a yearly basis. This actually was a lot of fun to play. I don't remember playing FIFA Soccer. I can pretty much guarantee you I wasn't interested in the time of when this thing was released, if I had any interest whatsoever. The only soccer game I remember playing is Mega Man Soccer for the SNES, but pretty cool game. Next, we have NHL Breakaway 98. Now, what I'm realizing is I just recently picked up a NHL, I think 17 for Xbox One. I'm realizing that hockey games can be a load of fun, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. This game was a lot of fun to play. It's one of the things you can kind of pick up and play. It's not real difficult if you understand the basics of hockey with checking and slap shots and stuff like that. It could just be a lot of fun. So I really had a good time enjoying this while capturing the gameplay. Next is Knockout Kings 2000. This series was huge back when I was growing up, probably about preteen age. You see, I was using Floyd Mayweather when he was super young. Again, this series was very huge within my neighborhood. A lot of people were playing Knockout Kings. It was the premier boxing title, and it was just a lot of fun. A lot of competitive matches took place between myself, my brothers, friends, family members, stuff like that. Had a good time. It was great revisiting this, and I hope they actually bring this title back. Next, we had Waylay Country Club Golf Tournament. Let me just say that I am an avid golf game player. Like, I'm a big fan of Mario Golf. I'm also a big fan of Hot Shots Golf. I love golf games, and this is more like an arcadey style. It kind of gave me the vibe of like the 3DO kind of action, real life interactive scene, if that makes sense. If you guys get the gist of it, it feels like kind of how Mortal Kombat is if you look at it. But this game was a lot of fun, and believe it or not, I can see myself playing this game, because you can see within the second hole, I started to get the hang of how to play the game. Simple, easy to pick up, and I don't know what it is about golf games. I enjoy playing them mobily as well as on the console level. It's a great game. Next, we have Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. So of course I'm going for a complete set, so this is part of the collection, but it seems to be pretty cool. I got to spend a little bit of time. The controls aren't all that, but once a little bit down the track at the plan and capture the footage, I got a little used to the controls, and just depending on what type of mode or vibe I'm in and who's there. Nintendo is known for having your classic in-house multiplayer titles, and this just seems like something that if the friends are over, put in 4 controllers on the N64, we can go at it. Next, we have Top Gear Rallies, made by Midway. This game seemed to be pretty cool. Controls are simplistic enough. It wasn't a whole lot to racing games back then. Not a whole lot of detail and typical drift and stuff like that. Controls a little bit hard to control, but pretty cool game. Next, we have Ridge Racer 64. I was first introduced to this series via the Sony PlayStation, and this particular game doesn't age well on the N64. I may have to look into some options to scale up the graphics and stuff like that, but I remember playing this a lot more on the PlayStation, and it being a little bit more of an enjoyable experience. But all in all, still not bad of a racing game. Alright, so this is going to be a 2-part video. Rounding out this part, it's going to be NFL Quarterback Club 1998. I actually got 3 different variations, 98, 99, 2000. So you'll see a little bit of gameplay, see if you can distinguish the difference from year to year with the NFL Quarterback Club series. And again, it's just a sports title, nothing crazy. I know I didn't put a lot of time into NFL Quarterback Club, if ever. So this was like my first time playing it. I definitely played Madden, and then it was NFL 2K before Madden cornered the market, and now there's only batting. You only got one option. So, and as you can see right here, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm diving out of control. So this is going to end the episode. Stay tuned for part 2 next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Take care. Thank you for watching. Follow me on all social media platforms at Video Game Votary.